Yo, yo, yo.
See, yeah, I can hear you on that
There
one.
we go. All right, we good now.
We just gotta play with that shit later.
Yep.
Cause I couldn't even hear myself on yours, so that just meant something with the broadcast is messed up, not like per. You know what I'm saying? Like my settings haven't changed, so I could hear myself now, but I couldn't hear myself on the other shit. So it's probably just one setting or something off in between the shit. You might have to like desync your YouTube or remake a not remake one, but like take it off and then add it back on or something stupid. I'll try to see.
We good now. I can hear myself and you.
Hmm.
Yes, sir. Tag, we haven't been around. Tag, you're it, Max. We ain't been on this bitch in a while, but we here. Let's get it. Let's get to the conversation, man. You dealing with microphone Max and hits the franchise guru. Man 22. We in the backstages of the backstages of
Nigga,
the back
you ain't
pages.
fuck shit. I done,
We into the get
nigga,
to, the
you
get
ain't
tos, and the
pop
get
shit.
downs, right?
Spending money on these hoes, nigga. You ain't fuck
And if
shit.
we at the Pro Bowl stage, that means Super Bowl is about to be played as well, right?
Shit.
Coming right behind that shit. You ain't really about shit. I'm talking about,
17 weeks, nigga.
I'm talking
You ain't
about,
win shit.
I'm talking about. All I know is good morning. That's all I can say to the good morning gang. Good morning to the good morning gang. I had a special interview I wanted to do, man, but you ain't really about shit. Let that man win that fifth Super Bowl and watch the conversation we had. We got matchups, Matt. We have matchups. We have matchups. Right? To talk about, man. Before we get into all that, you know we got to get into the recap of the season. It's been a weird playoff run. I know it's been taking a little long. I asked y'all to bear with us. Um, do it. Believe me, coming into the future of what we got going on. For the last 2.5, 3 seasons, we will not have these type of playoff runs where it's like, oh my God, what the fuck happened? We had some vacations that happened. Um, we had some things that happened that kind of put us in a situation. And just to be fair to everybody, I tried to be fair. We had a couple of forced wins given early in the early rounds while we were waiting on some of those games to get played, but things just didn't line up and match up the way we wanted it. But you're still dealing with the best league around, hands down. Don't ask nobody, find out yourself. Get down and lay down. Get down and lay down, man. Look forward. Please pay attention to Madden 23. You want to be a part of the league. Game of Thrones 4. Oh my God, Game of Thrones 4. Boy, you want to be a part of it, man. Hit me up. Let me know. Try to get in the league. We are right now. We have 21 players paid and ready to play. Obviously, we have what 11 more spots available, and it's first come, first serve. Simple as that. So if you want to be a part of the league, please hit the kid
Really
up.
10,
Let's
because
get
you
that
gotta
shit
count
up.
yourself.
Yeah, right. 10. Yep, 100% right. With that being said, the Pro Bowl. We're gonna dive deep into the Pro Bowl. I haven't been able to do a Pro Bowl show in a while, man. Um, but I get to do one, so let's make it great. First of all, Max, good morning, man. How you feeling?
Man, can't complain, man. I'll do my service to apologize to the league. You know, I was one of the holdups. I was traveling, and then my system did some weird shit on me where I was basically off the game period for like 5 to 8 days because my system couldn't read my storage shit. So shout out to Coach Hitta for trying to bear with, and then shout out to the league for trying to hold off. But I'm ready for these for this Super Bowl matchup. I watched both of the championship games yesterday, and there's some shit to talk about for sure. Some
Well,
real good games.
you gonna have to lead that conversation because I didn't get to see neither one of the games. So I'm gonna need you to help me out in that. When we talk about it, you got the first hand view of it, so we're gonna get to that and let's get to what we're here to get to. Good situations, good conversations. You know what I'm saying? Good morning, man. Good morning. I almost died the other night, huh, Max, man? God damn. I'm vegan. Pancreatitis flare up had me ready to go to the hospital at 4 in the morning. What time we got off that night? Like 2?
Like 2:30, yeah, like right at 2:30, maybe close to 3.
And around about 3:30 to about 6, I was on my way to the emergency room. Shit got real. Shit got real. Alright, so here we go. Whoa. I want to recap a lot of things. I might have did the award winners before we got to the playoffs. I don't know. It's been such a dead spot in my brain that I have no idea what we did and didn't do. So before I get into the Pro Bowl, let's go over here and look at who won the awards. I know I talked about it, but I just want to recap it. It's been a while. So we're going to go back to it and recap that thing right now and figure out the award winners. All right, so let's go to yearly awards. Max, let's deal with it. Now, we're not going to talk about too much. We're just going to recap it because I'm not sure. Again, I remember doing it, but not, it's not fresh our memories. So, Max, Nico, I'm a believer. In his second season, won the MVP of the league. How you feel about that?
Um, just a tribute to the Cardinals organization first, for having the chance to produce a quarterback. They came onto the game with Sensei and basically used him until damn near duration. Could have did what a lot of guys did, or a lot of teams, and traded a speed or the quarterback. Traded whatever caliber you want to say the type of quarterback he was. Could have traded him. Moved up and da 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 and da da da. But they let the process come to them, and they went and got a guy, and then made him the guy in the league. And I think in the second season for him to be the MVP, it's a tribute to not only the player, but the organization and the quarterback coach and Peyton Manning. Really, really,
Yeah,
really.
really couldn't say it more better than you, man. That 2023 class that's going into the college world, they have a senior season. Nico's part of that. I mean, it's one of the best, could be possibly one of the best quarterback classes we got. We got Nico Amaliva, right? You got Malachi Nelson, who's the rookie this year for the Bears. You got Arch Manning, who played for the Jets, who's also in his second year. It's some quarterbacks in the class, man. And we got two strong ones coming out this year. The 2023 class, high school kids, that class is great. So we're in that stage now. Obviously, when we get to 23, those kids will get on the game a little earlier than they did.
Hmm.
This where you're not going to really see them. But I had a conversation through those quarterbacks that's on this, that's on teams right now, and Nico, Malachi Nelson had a great coach. They have a new coach in Chicago right now, so I don't know. Arch Manning, how would you say his career is faring so far?
Um, I would say it started off not even so not bad at all.
I didn't.
I think his game is a little bit changed over there in New York versus his traditional what we seen out of his high school tape. The type
Hmm.
of quarterback he can be, but I wouldn't say that he's necessarily had a bad start to the league. It's a difference between college and like an NFL, let alone your high school film, and then being able to produce inside of the league at this point of the season. I mean, at this point of the game. So I think
I,
they both got a lot of upside. Even with Malachi Nelson, him not having a whole lot of consistency. We'll be interested to see what it's like with 2 or 3 seasons of consistency with a coach left on the disc.
we know one thing for sure. The new Bears coach is an old coach that's been in the league. Our old Texans coach, and Mark is back. He will throw that football, right? We know that. The problem is he going to be able to throw ratio? Is he going to have a high touchdown ratio to interception, or is it going to be flip side interception to touchdown? We do know Malachi Nelson will be throwing that ball. But this conversation is about the MVP of the league, Nico. Nicholas, I'm a believer. I'm a believer of this kid. I think he's the truth, and I think he went to the right coach. And when you get that pedigree, you get the coach and the player, things like this happen. In year two, he makes it to the championship game, and MVP of the league. So shout out to him. AFC Offensive Player of the Year goes to Kenneth Walker the third, man. And we get little young Ray Ray over there with his running backs, man. He's doing a really good job. This is his second running back that he's on his running back tour with. We like Kenneth Walker the third. He was arguably one of the best running backs in the 2022 draft. I think you could arguably say he's the best out of that class. Obviously, I think he is the best. I don't think you really can say. You got Brian Robinson from Alabama that's on the Cleveland Browns, who's finally a starter over there. So he's not, that guy right now. You had a couple of other guys that came out along with him, such as Brees Hall. So I would think it's really between them two, Kenneth Walker the third and Brees Hall. Well, what about your guy? We can't leave out your guy either, though.
Spiller is I was thinking him, but his injury bug could leave him out that top conversation.
Kenneth
Different points.
Walker literally averaged 150 yards a game. He had a shitload of touchdowns. We'll go over that in a little bit. But right now, Kenneth Walker, Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC. In the NFC, Nico brings home not only the MVP, but he brings home the Offensive Player of the Year award. Shout out to Nico. When you get to the Defensive Player of the Year, Zach Holiday, the corner, man. The corner that's been around for a while, and now, he's the guy over there. He led the league in interceptions with 16. And he's a true shutdown corner right now, and they got he's on a upper side of his career. He's a veteran in the league, as we say, and he's trying to close out and do something that that's not been done. Undefeated season, finishing it with an undefeated season, and being that shutdown corner. Although the matchup he has, uh, I don't know how much of a role he'll have to play as a shutdown more than a guy that can play, make tackles as well. It's going to be more of a tackling game. I think the Patriots are going to come in the game with the run game more than anything else. So Zach Holiday going to have to be on his P's and Q's because play action is going to happen a lot. But he had a great year, man. 16 interceptions from the cornerback position. How you feel about him?
Um, Definitely a good year. The Bucks trusting a lot of majority of their players in their secondary, so it's a lot of different players that fly around. But I definitely feel like for him to make a staple at the number one. I don't know all the specifics of his yearly stats, but I'm willing to bet he had a kick-ass year.
Yeah, great
Probably not
year.
a lot of.
Shut down. Flat out
I was
shut
about to
down,
say,
man.
yeah, probably just
Take
not a
your
lot of
number
like
one receiver
stats,
out the
even if,
game.
but just taking him out the
Right.
game exactly. So
He
that
had
was
the
always
stats.
a
He
good
led
stat.
the league in interceptions, 16. I think Kyle Hamilton, and Zach Holiday had the most interceptions out of the DBs. And thinking about that, Kyle Hamilton comes into his first full season as a Raven. He got traded for a year ago, halfway through the season, and then this is his first year with the Ravens, and he wins Defensive Player of the Year in the AFC, man. Um, Look, man, we traded Najee Israel, who was a great safety for us, to get Kyle Hamilton, and we sent two Israels to the Chargers to get Kyle Hamilton. Do you think that move paid off?
Um, I would definitely say so. I remember a memorable moment last year for Kyle Hamilton was in a late season game, a playoff game, I think. And then this year for him to come back and win Defensive Player of the Year in his first full season as a Raven, I definitely feel like that's worth it.
Yeah, I agree. Upside there. Let's see what happens in the AFC as Offensive Rookie of the Year. So we had a lot of good rookies. You know me, man. I love the rookie conversation. So I'm not going farther. I'm going to go further than just the guy who actually won the Offensive Rookie of the Year trophy. I want to talk about every last one of these rookies on this list. We can give a quick shout out to them all and talk about the diaper dandies. But Johnny Martin, look, man, the Texans brought in a new quarterback, new running back, new wide receiver, right? And Johnny Martin was a sleeper running back from out of New Jersey who went to Charlotte. You're looking at the quarterback that they picked up from Florida. You know, Stowers. Remember T had him last year, Eli Stowers.
Yep.
So we know who he is, right? And then they also had the receiver. They had one of the top receivers in the draft of the 2022 class, 23 class. I'm sorry, Zachary Branch. And we know his branches all over the league right now that came out. Two brothers, both from USC. You got Branch that played receiver and a Branch on the Eagles team that played safety for over there. But let's talk about it. Johnny Martin wins the MVP award, but I mean for the rookie award, right? But he should. You know, they went from Springs having a dynamic run game with Springs, and they had to transfer over because Springs got of age, right? 30 years old, loses his abilities. They go in, they go get a new tool offense because you gotta think about it. New offensive line, new receiver, new running back, new quarterback. They finished 9-8. I think they have a high ceiling as far as what they can do next year with that young core, especially seeing all those offensive players I just spoke about from the Texans on this list right now, because one and two are Texas players. A sleeper, one of the fastest, if not the fastest back in the draft class, and Gavin Sawchuk. He played against him. This kid's really like that. And Seattle got him one right here, man. I thought they would play the Michigan back first before they really put him on the field, but they dove deep and went right away day one starter, and he's third on the list out of rookies in the AFC right now. Gavin Sawchuk. I think the speed of that guy is going to be a
Second season
problem.
is going. Yeah, the second season. I would say because first season I played him early. I would have liked to see some games down the road. That was one of the guys, one of the rookies and the backs that I just saw. You know, I wanted to keep up with his game. Um, but shit, next season I'm willing to bet he'll be, on the best running back list if he's not already on that now.
Right. I agree. Now, Zachary Branch. This is, we had a few guys that came out this last draft that we just had that we can, label Tyreek Hillish. Um,
This is definitely one of them.
Speed demon, right? Speed demon, agility. With the ball in his hand, he's a demon. I really like this guy. I think that, don't forget the Texans have the fastest guy we've seen come out of the draft in a while, still on that team at receiver at 6'3" from Beller. So they got speed out this world in their receiver room over there. And this kid kind of moved up the ladder real fast over there in the Houston offense. And I think he's going to be a playmaker going forward. Now, will he be their number one? I'm not sure, but I know he'll be that guy that will return kicks, punts, and do it all with the ball in his hand. They got to get him the ball early and often. But I like him on this list. And we're looking at Demetrius Davis, the quarterback that transferred from out of Auburn. He's been the best quarterback in Texas history outside of Kyler Murray. This was the next guy. Um, Transferred from Auburn, went to Alabama State, took the HBCU route, and early on for the Steelers, he had them guys winning ball games early on. Do you think he can build off of that? He had a bad end second half of the season, but to start off, he started off on fire, and they run a lot of pistol offense over there, and they do have the RPO game down with this kid, speed dual threat quarterback. How do you feel about Demetrius Davis though? Do you think he has a chance to like play better than he played last season?
I definitely think so. He just got to go next level on his game. Learn from what he was successful off of last year and not successful. And honestly, when it gets down to it, the league is about mobile quarterbacks, dual threats. So just make it simpler sometimes. Don't be afraid to, use that dual threat. And I feel like if he learns some of that within his coaching staff, it could be another back-to-back good season for him.
Yeah, they started off 5-1, and then they, went on a straight losing streak. A lot of that was, not playing at the same time. He had some things going on. But Demetrius Davis. Now, Isaiah Bond, 007. Listen, he played for the Browns. He was a threat for the Browns. 700 yards receiving. He only had 3 touchdowns though for the Browns. And then we traded for this guy in a very crowded wide receiver room. But we brought him in, and what he did at the end of the year for us might make some changes in that wide receiver room in Baltimore. Isaiah Bond is going to be a name that I think we'll see some more. I think his ceiling is high, where he hasn't even scratched the surface yet. And he closed out the season with an outstanding game against the Bengals. But he had the last three games. He made plays. I like this kid, but the receiving room is crowded in Baltimore. So do you think he can be another 1,000-yard receiver like he was this year?
Um, just depends on how the season starts for him, I guess. I think the Ravens at this point function off of we play off of who shows. You show you want to play or you deserve to be on the field, you get on the field. It's about not how many plays you have, as some of my coaches used to say, or coaches, if you played football, it's not many snaps. It's about making the snaps count. I
Right.
feel like if since he was traded for, he already gets a little bit of advantage for that, but he just got to go out there and make his snaps count. And shit, I think the Ravens would give him chances to show that. So it'll be all up on him. But I feel like he has the full capability of being another 1,000 yard, double digit, or 8+ touchdown guy again.
All right, so Corey Stanley goes to his dad, right? Corey Stanley, nice little receiver over there, for him to be seventh on his list. He's still not the number one receiver in that franchise over there. They do got an Alabama guy, two of them actually over there that's playing really big for them. But I think Corey Stanley, had a really good first year, and I think he'll build off of that year. I think the Bengals, if you really look at it, they got three guys on this list. That says to me that their future is bright. Because
Hmm.
not only is Corey Stanley here, you also got Austin Stogner, the tight end that started off at Oklahoma and then transferred to South Carolina, who at one point was a first round tight end, and finished off his career and still was a first round talent. Don't know if he went in the first, but a first round talent.
And then
And
saw Chuck in the backfield.
yes, sir. And then you got Chris Hood sitting here as well, young receiver. He comes on late for the Jets, right? I think they got a good future because they were getting old in the wide receiver room. So I think the Jets, they can go forward. And I think Chris Hood will be their number one receiver. And then there's Al Shadi Salam, the second fastest running back in that draft class, and
Speed.
the Colts have him. And I think the Colts are going to do a good job with this guy. I think they're going to get into having their two back system, and really work that because they have a great tight end. They got some really good names at the receiver position. They got the bloodlines all over the place. They got Ocho Cinco's son and they got Jerry Rice's son at the receiver level. So I think they got it all. And then their quarterback Ritter still who he is. So I like this team. I like where they can go. If they can put it all together, we could see some things. And you can't teach speed at the end of the day. Ali Shadé Salam from
I
New
think we
Jersey.
could see the Colts going back to that old his last year Bills where his running back had a good amount of catches and some
Hmm.
other things, and then the other
Hmm.
back will have carries. I could see this very well
Yeah.
happening with this type of back. Pure speed,
Hmm.
pure elusiveness, and then underrated back. I would say along with Johnny Martin, kind of
Yes,
some
sir.
underrated
Both of
backs with
those
chips on
guys,
their
yep,
shoulders.
underrated backs, but had the attributes to be able to do some good things for that both of those teams. All right, so that was the AFC offensive rookies. Now let's get to the NFC, and it's like I love the names I saw in the AFC, but then we start looking at these names in the NFC. It's like wow, you know what I mean? Another New Jersey native, Amari Clark, straight from Camden, who's up here on this list as well, the number one receiver on a rookie list. He was up there all year as a receiver. He's been in the top three. He's that guy. I like him a lot. I think the Saints are going to continue to build off him. The reason why I think they'll continue to use him is because he's from their neighborhood and the kid played with him. So I think when you have that type of bond with the player you have, you're not going to do what the Saints usually do, one and done. Have him step all year, then draft another one next year and try to do it all over again. I think Amari Clark will be that guy. There's a couple receivers still on that Saints roster that I think if they start implementing those guys into the game, they could change their seasons and stop being either 500 or under 500 and get back to the playoffs. Uh, Now, Katron Allen. This is a big story here because you drafted him in the first round when you already had Spiller there. You traded to the house, right? And then you get Katron in here, who gives you a different dynamic at the running back position. Now, let's talk about him as a rookie and where you know he's going to be to where he was for you all year. Give me that conversation.
Um, well, all year, he was an excitement, but also, it's a business, also a business move. We draft him in the first to prioritize, and then an onslaught of running backs come after that. So we feel great about drafting him in the first, and we draft him solely because of Spiller's, getting some injuries, like I was saying earlier, just and with that type of thing happening within the league, you got to be a consistent, solid back at this point in the disc that we are. And we put that trust and control as a rookie just based off of what we know about him. And he hasn't really fallen short of anything. Um, there was games where he dominated games. He was a chain mover, and then a game where Spiller gets hurt and then Verdell gets hurt in the same game with a broken collarbone, and Control was able to finish that game out and win the game for us, with 25 plus carries. So he was able to show that he could tote and be the bell cow. So those are all the three things you look for, I feel like, and to get that out of a rookie at this point in the disc, we feel good about him going into next season. I won't say that he'll be a running back, the running back one, but probably looking at another split season. 190 carries out of Catrone, 180 out of Spiller. Probably another split season. Just allowing our backs to show their dominance, kind of like
Well, he was quoted on saying, "Listen, I had to wait behind two great running backs at IMG Academy, right? I had to wait behind two really good running backs, and when I got my time, I did what I did. I come into the NFL and I'm behind a Spiller. I'm patient, and I learned a lot from him, but I've always been a starter. So is he sending a message to the New York Giants organization, or
he. I mean, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns, um, no fumbles, more broken tackles than Spiller on his rookie season. He's making a statement for sure. Some teams probably could put him as a starter. Shit, it's just I just think it's based off of the organization. Giants go way back to dual backfield since Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs, and then before that. So they kind of this is what they do. Um, but I definitely see him trying to fight for that starting position next year.
I like him. I think he will be the starter before it's all said and done. Now, Malachi Nelson, listen, man, I told y'all we had some tremendous quarterbacks in the 2023 class. This kid, if Arch Manning wasn't the bloodline Arch Manning or the Manning family, Malachi Nelson could possibly have been the best quarterback in that class coming out of high school. This kid's a dog, and the new coach that's taking over this team, I thought if D West was still playing, Malachi Nelson would be a very, very noticeable name. Mark is getting handed keys to the Ferrari. You know what I mean? When it comes down to this quarterback, he just gotta not fuck it up. Simple as that. But we like Malachi Nelson. I think he went to the Bears. He got the type of now he's a California kid and he had to go play. He played at USC, and then now he's in the Midwest, man. He's Soldier Stadium. He's playing in the elements. But he got this arm strength to be able to cut through that wind with that cannon of an arm, man. And I think they really got themselves another quarterback that can put them in a situation that they did when they had the kid that won his first Super Bowl. Uh, so I like it. I like Malachi Nelson, and I'm looking forward to seeing his future. We had a tight end. This was the number one tight end in the draft, and Jaleel Skinner. The Commanders played really well with him this year. He was almost 1,000 yard receiver. I think they needed to get a tight end. They had needed to get young at the tight end position. And I think they did it. I think they brought in another weapon for their quarterback, especially now that their quarterback's back focused to just playing football. To me, I thought they had a good year.
They had
The
a great
Commanders
year.
had a great year.
I had some talks with the coach. Some after season talks with the coach. After and before season talks with the coach. Skinner almost broke the starting lineup completely over there in that tight end room. So
Right.
I'm
And he
excited to
is
see
the
what this kid
tight end
does.
number one coming into this year.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm excited to see what type of year he'll have now being the starter. But he almost completely broke that as a rookie, and the football team plays their young players, but starters is kind of just as unheard of as maybe a Bucks rookie starter or uh, shit. Well, yeah, just about as unheard of as a Bucks full time rookie starter. Honestly, those are two teams that don't really full time guys, just depending on circumstances.
Yeah, I think with them, their first round picks, second round picks, those guys seem to get to hit the field. They had you got to think about it, Jaleel Skinner and then Shamar Stewart. We talking
Hmm.
about two generational change of franchise talent. So I like it. This was a steal though. Brandon Ennis, the number one receiver in the class of 23,
I
the
think it
number
was like
one
the third
receiver
or
in this
fourth
class,
round or something like
and
that.
he got him in the second.
Oh,
Uh,
second.
yeah,
Okay.
he went Branch first, him second, and this was a steal. This wasn't a I need a receiver. This was I'm going to pick him anyway, and I could need him, and it panned out for him. You gotta be. I mean, sometimes you get lucky, but sometimes you get in a situation where guys don't need certain stuff, and a dog is sitting there for you. I just don't, none of the receivers was first round graded, but it was first round talent throughout that entire draft. when it came down to receivers, and this was the best one to me. And he's in a situation where they have a really good quarterback over there, and they saw what Evan Stewart did the year before as a rookie, and they bring in Brandon Ennis in the next year, and I think
I
the
was about
Eagles
to
have a
say flat
clean
out, yeah,
receiver room.
flat out, the Eagles just, they're not scared to get better at their receiver position. They start with D Hop, kind of trended that, and they've always been, a unique team with unique receivers and a quarterback that usually has a special connection with each of them. So, shit, I got to play this kid twice a year. I want to say both times he
He's a
scored,
dog.
and
He's a
yeah, I was
dog.
about to say both
He's a
times, both
dog.
games he scored, and me and the Eagles didn't have any blowouts, so they were counting for scores and that. Like he had a good season. I'm
I
excited
I
to
li-
see
I
what him
like
and
I like
Stewart do next
I
year.
was going to say that I like both of them together. They're really
Yeah,
good.
that shit is going to be good next year. I think he has one more guy. I'm forgetting his name, but I just can't think of it right now that I was really interested in during the season too. So that matchup is going to be very nice.
Max, this guy was on your board. You was adamant about Aaron Anderson. You thought he could be the next
Ah,
Tyreek Hill.
the
The
next
Panthers get this
Tyreek.
guy. Panthers put him into a 1,000-yard season. He is a speed demon. This kid is going to run by you. People like when you running the ball 25 to 30 times a game, and guys are frustrated. And they got to put 8 in the box, and you got one-on-one on the outside with this guy off of play action. Man, he has the speed to blow the top off of any defense. And he had a good rookie campaign, man. He needs to follow it up. I think he has to have a better season than he had as a rookie for that Panthers team to take that next stride.
Let me see something real quick. I know we're gonna go through some of these later, but I'm already over here. Yeah, 65 catches, 1,095 yards, 10 touchdowns, 300 rack catches. I mean, shit. I'm definitely impressed. Another receiver up here with 1,000 yards. So I'm definitely impressed. 65 catches as a rookie. Solid hands,
Hell
solid
yeah,
ass hands,
hell
solid
yeah.
ass hands. And I think that's the part that people are gonna undersleep. But that's why this guy was Tyreek, not because of the speed for me, but because of the hands, the physicality to go to be able to do what he has to do to catch the fucking football no matter what. Tyreek, go get it. He down there somewhere. That's this guy. So I 65 catches on his rookie campaign. That's solid as hell. Um, Expecting the number one wide receiver position next year, of
Yes,
course, and
sir.
another 1,200 plus 10 touchdown season out of this guy.
I could see it. Now, Jalen Lay, Clemson at first, then he transfers to HBCU as well. Tight end, superstar X Factor. This was a gift. This was a steal. Picked up, and the
Still,
Saints got him. And the Saints did a pretty good job with him. I think, remember back then when the Saints had that 1,000-yard tight end that came out of nowhere? That was their last time they went to a playoff. So if they play their games and stay focused, they got the formula to get it done. They just got to use more weapons than just the weapon they've been using all year long, and Amari Clark. Now, Le'Veon Moss, Texas A&M, he played behind Isaiah Spiller. The Cowboys got this guy, and eventually I think he's going to be their new starting running back. Let's think about this. You got Le'Veon Moss over there. They stole the Eagles practice squad player that was a superstar. They're crowded
Jimmy
running back
Clemens
room.
just hit 30,
Yeah,
so
and then
he's
they traded Wandell Robinson, their scat back guy that could do a little bit of everything, receiver and running back, to the New York Giants. And in my opinion, Le'Veon is going to be the next running back in the Cowboys system, and we know how they run a football.
Yeah, split another split carry season, like kind of like how the Giants did with theirs, kind of following Memo. Sure, I know Le'Veon just because I watched Spiller. I got to see, oh, who's this other guy, so I know
Right.
what Le'Veon's capable of. He's a dog. A solid all around back. Like
Mm-hmm.
his game is very polished. I think he's gonna be the back.
It could be Joey Cummings like, bro. Like I think
Yeah,
he can
that's what
be.
I'm
I could
saying.
think
Yeah,
he can
like
be
he's
like Joey Cummings
polished.
for him.
He's. I think this is their back for the rest of at 21 years old for him to have a solid season like this while Joey's hitting 30. I think this is their guy. You might see him go for a speed, a home run hitter maybe because they lost their scat back out of Wandell maybe. But other than that, they got their pound for pound 3 down back running
Mm-hmm.
back right here.
Mm-hmm. And he got solid hands out the backfield as well. For
Mhm.
them. So I like it. Cornell Tate, the number 3 receiver in the 2023 class. Him and is all committed to Ohio State. They got 3 dogs that came out of that class. Brian Hartline doing a hell of a job over there for the Ohio State Buckeyes, which is your favorite college team. That guy is a monster on
Ohio
recruiting.
State, I mean, wide receiver producer.
Another IMG kid at Cornell Tate, dog. Flat out dog. I know Falk was big on this kid. He wanted him bad to go along with Nico. And the 49ers, 3 years in a row, steals a player that Falk was interested in. And he gets this guy, and the question is he the number one receiver in Santa Clay?
Um, yeah, the tight end led offenses last year, but yeah, um, two less catches than the vet, more yards, more touchdowns, 200 yards after a third of his yards was after the catch. So being able to do something after the catch is made. I think in the next season I could see him being 1,000 yards with that 6'3" frame. I feel
Yeah, I
like
think
the
AR
49ers
15
fit
is
into,
really going to
yeah,
love this kid right here. I think the
yeah.
quarterback is going to love this guy, the receiver, as the
Just
number
based
one.
off the offense, the coach, the quarterback, and his frame, 6'3", 200 pounds, solid. Yeah, he'll have a way better next season. But still a solid rookie season at this point. To play any rookie at this point in the disc of where we are, and they're contributing, north of 500, 600, 700,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
north of 8 touchdowns. I released 5, 7, depending on positions, I guess. That means something, and then going forward, that sets the standard for the player. Kind of what I was talking about on episodes earlier, like setting the standard for your player, learning your player. That shit is important. So
Marion Hampton, though, when you got, we had up and down feelings about Boone Jackson over there. At 28 years old, Boone Jackson's over there, but they got the next Boone Jackson, and possibly can be better than Boone Jackson, and then Marion Hampton. Now I don't know if just talking with the coach, is still going to be a split backfield situation between those two. But this is the physical back that was a sleeper. Like, this was a steal pick to me because, physical as
this is the
hell, another big
definition
time
of a
back.
steal pick.
Hmm.
I say
Hmm.
in the sense of it's a secret. It's a secret light that they don't know that they might need yet. And I say that because we've been talking about lack of success for Boom, and then discrediting even some of the other backs that was there as far as like lack of production. And when you got 3 or 4 backs deep that could be starters, and this guy accidentally kind of just shows up and makes plays. And even when we played, he had some runs and some running days better than Boom Jackson. So it's like, to have that happen to you at this point, it's like you might not realize it yet, but this could be an unsung hero. I feel
Right.
like for the football team going down
And
the
I think
stretch.
the football team this is what they starting to understand. You don't have to have, uh, you know, 200 yards because, 200 yards and 90 broken tackles out of these factor backers, these big bruising running backs. But they're game changers. What I mean by that is when I played them and lost to them this season, their running back averaged 3 yards a carry,
First
but he
down
was
stuff.
yes, but he was part of the reason why they won the game. Both of these guys produce, when the game is over and you look at the stat line, you don't see it. But in that game, they kept they stayed in front of the chains because of these running backs. And
For
I
that,
think
yeah.
I think the football team is starting to understand that maybe he's not going to be a 200-yard back every game with Boone Jackson and Mario Hampton. But when he start to use those guys on drives where he can keep drives going, where he don't have to, he's not throwing the ball way too much. He can rely on these guys to get them in front of the sticks and get them to 2nd and 4, 2nd and 6. Get them in those good situations to be able to call right plays and call plays that keep guys off balance. Versus, they get tackled in the backfield twice and he stays away from the run game the rest of the game. Now it doesn't matter. You're gonna have to deal with these two guys the entire game somehow, some way. And I think that's what made them 11-6 this year. Because of that. So shout out to the football team and what they can do with those two big backs over there, and Amari Hampton being, one of those guys.
I got
Now,
a hot take on.
what's that?
Kind of random. I think I think all 4 NFC East teams make the playoffs again.
All four?
Definitely 3, but I think low key all 4 could happen.
I mean, some coaching changes in NFC right now, so I can see some things like that happening right now. I can see it. I would never
I'm
not
just
put that
early
past
seeing
it.
it because I'm thinking about where everybody's at, how the football team finished this year. Um, Snake will probably tell you he got a couple games that were just right from under his fingertips, and some people he shouldn't have lost to.
He did a
And
reset too. He has a real big
exactly,
reset. A lot
I'm
of
saying
30-year-olds and
exactly. So
stuff over
that's what
there too. So
I'm exactly. So I'm seeing the type of people that Le'Veon Moss, and Omari Hamptons, some other things I know that people are doing on their rosters. It's like might come back a little bit wild next year as a unit.
I like it. I think I agree with you 100% what you're saying. Um, I think when it comes down to all y'all over there in that division, you're another person who did a lot of resetting as well. Um, and I think with the Cowboys, they're there. And if here's what makes the Cowboys super good, in my opinion, they still are one of the best offseason guys. In season trading, off season moves, things that they do. So while we had the waiver system going on since real draft started, nobody's been taking advantage of it but the Cowboys.
Yeah, I got one player. I think the first season we did it, and I know Snake has got a couple. Yeah, like so
I
that's
mean, he's
definitely
picking
a
up.
point we took.
He's stealing players. He's stealing guys. The
And it just
rosters
takes
are
time for it to
right.
gel together,
Hmm.
literally.
Yep.
So
You're
I
putting it
definitely see
together.
that.
And you had a lot of transitional players over there that played for that team that are on the back end of their careers. And when you have to start to change those players out, and you getting them off practice squad, he's finding them. So when you look at that roster, you don't see experience, but you see the talent. And once that talent turns into experience, and it doesn't take long for you to turn them into a good experienced player, especially with his system. He's finding the right pieces for his system. He just found a 6'5" receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs practice squad. In my opinion, like wow, you get
That's a game changer.
that's a game changer right there. This is why he was comfortable to get rid of a guy like Wandale Robinson. It's just Wandale Robinson been his guy, but it just never fit what he wants to do. They need a back that can have freight train on him. Bottom line, right? So Wandale is not that. He's a gadget back that was great for 2020 Madden, in 2021, but
I was
22
about to say he was a little
changed
bit
when
of
it comes down
21.
to
Yeah,
so he had to get rid of him, he got rid of a player that he always drafts, and it's hard to do, and he did it. And hopefully we can see you put that player to work, right? But I think the Cowboys are heading in the right direction. There's a few teams that this year that I think that are going to be, you know, you're gonna have to worry about them when you get to the late latter end of the season. Those teams are improving in a massive way. Zion Branch, number one rookie, defensive rookie right now, right?
another NFC East player.
Another NFC East player. Zion Branch, man, listen, dog, flat out. This kid from day
Dog.
one, the moment he stepped on the field, he so improved who he was and who he was going to be. And this was a piece that the Eagles wanted. They needed they've been chasing sub safety to
To fit
to
Von
replace Von
Savage.
Savage for about 3 seasons now, and they finally got it.
My
And not
God.
only getting it, they got the one of the best ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
like
and they got him, and
they
he
get him.
did it right away. Right away, he went crazy. So you're looking at Zion Branch, dog, USC. Now he's a Philadelphia Eagle, and I think he's just getting started. He had a great year, but he's just getting started. Keon Sabb, another New Jersey native, another one of those dog safeties and one of the top safeties in the draft, and he's showing that he's had a great rookie year as well. Nair Graham, Camden, again, another New Jersey kid, stand up all the way. Nair Graham, dog linebacker, and come on, the last time the Cowboys had a linebacker like this,
Yep.
he was the jack of all trades. They moved him around everywhere, did all
You
type of
see what
things
I'm
with
saying
him.
right now? The
There you go.
NFC East is literally we back, baby. We
I
motherfucking
agree.
back,
I
baby.
agree. Because I mean, you could do some things with Nair. Nair can play anywhere. He got the speed. He has everything you need to better do. Yeah,
And then oh my God.
I'm on my show.
So
What you say?
we so back. Hey, NFC
What?
East people, y'all see this. We back, baby.
I'll cut. I'm gonna cut yours
Let's
when I
finish
get off my show,
these last 2 3 seasons. Yeah, talk that shit, NFC East. We back, baby. We back
man.
for sure.
Because now to me, here's the rookie of the year,
Yep, there's
AFC,
what I said. That's the
NFC,
rookie of the year.
right
That's
here,
the rookie of the year
right
right
here,
there.
right. I don't care if he's fourth on this list. He's the best defensive player, rookie defensive player, in my opinion, in the league right now. And
Day one effector.
boy, and we only got to see him at the true D tackle all year. This kid can play everywhere on the D line, anywhere he wants to play. The one thing the
Now is
football
that an
team's always
upside
been
to
good.
you
Yeah, it's a
or a
great upside.
downside? Is it, I'm
Upside,
saying
crazy.
that he didn't play all that
Um,
we didn't see him in those different positions rookie year. Did
Nah,
you
I
feel like it
think
was
I
too
think
much
he
for him to
did. Nah,
handle?
I think he did exactly what he was supposed to do when he stayed. Keep him at D tackle because what happened is you're dealing with the fastest D tackle in the league right now, right? And with that speed and strength and that athleticness he has together at that D tackle, he caused a lot of issues. We saw him early on causing issues, right? It was like he was always in the backfield, just wasn't smart enough to make the play all the time, right? And then all of a sudden, week six, going from week six on, he started making the plays.
Yep.
And
I just
now
wanted to see your perception of it because some guys get these tweeners all the time, and sometimes overdo it or underdo it. So sometimes it's just a different it's a different gauge with some of these players. Like could have had him all over the D line, but he had him mostly a D tackle for a reason.
and the whole thing is it's a system when it comes down to the football team and their defensive line. Period. We've seen it with Chase Young. We've seen it with Montez Sweat. We've seen it with Angelo Falk right now. They have these players that can play all throughout that defensive line, and they're interchange. They can just change and play pit people and plug and play and put them in different spots that make them be effective in games. And I think with Stewart, they did what they're supposed to do. They kept him at D tackle all year, let him master that position, and now you're going to see him move around all next year. Like I think this season coming in, Shamar Stewart will, his sack total going to go up because he's going to be everywhere. Like you got 300-pound guy with linebacker speed, some DB speed that can come off the edge, come up the middle, do whatever you want. And I like it. Now the number one linebacker in the 2023 class, Anthony Hill, dog, right? IMG Academy again. Now he goes to the Cardinals. So now you're looking at Justin Flo, Anthony
Underrated.
Hill, the 6'7" guy over there.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
this Cardinals
Underrated.
defense, they're getting there. They get into a situation. Um, remember they won four. They won three out of three straight. Then they won three straight, right? And then they won their fourth. And they did it with the same roster. And then they did their turnover. And they haven't been back to Super Bowl since. But I think they are built to be back to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
Um,
well, yeah, you didn't see the game like I have to talk about later. Literally about two plays away. Two
I,
plays away.
and I think with Tampa Bay, that's the difference with them being mastering this right now, right? Those two plays. If you say two plays, a drive, any situation, us top teams that play him, he's winning those battles. He's winning that. I want to say ice in your vein battle where he
Hmm.
don't falter, and if you don't make you can't make the mistake. You make two more mistakes than he make, you're gonna lose the game. I mean, I just lost to him in the championship game in the AFC matchup in the 48-hour league with 16 seconds left. Sa- that's just being a savage. He down four, got the whole field to deal with, got all his timeouts, and two plays winning the game. Walk off, touchdown. Corner route, matchup. He understood the matchup. Your linebacker can't cover my number one receiver. Hit him on a corner route, and if you don't get out of this shit, I'm gonna keep you in it and touchdown. I ain't get out of it. But these are the little things that the Bucks do that have them 17-0 right now and have them chasing their fifth straight Super Bowl right now. That's something we'll talk about later on. That's something serious. Kenyatta Jackson, you know what this guy is. Another one of those defensive ends with speed off the edge. The Lions got one. I think they're in the building mode still. The Lions is crazy because when you think they're in rebuild mode or build mode, they end up in the playoffs.
Yeah, I wouldn't be
And,
surprised to see him in the playoffs next year.
and then when you think they're ready for the playoffs, they don't. They finish 2-15. You know what I'm saying? But I think they got a good piece here at the defensive end right here in Kenyatta Jackson. He's a dog out of Ohio State. Then Jeremiah Alexander, man, boy, I mean, the
Generational
the
talent.
the Rams hit big with this guy. One of the fastest DNs in the draft hit really big with him, and he played on the same team as Peter Woods, so you know what you're dealing with. Then you got Martrell Harris Jr., linebacker for the Packers. Seem like their Packers and their safeties and linebackers play a really good football for them. I mean, they got Tom Fox from me, and he's been in the awards race since he's been over there as a starter. So I like it. Julian Humphreys. We're looking at a cornerback. Um, that go along with him. Let's talk about the Panthers and their cornerback selection. Their DB room is full of guys that we was like with the remember how we was with the Dolphins, like why would you pick him
Hmm.
and with your first round pick? Well, that's how the Panthers are with their DBs and all their picks that they made. This is the second corner that they made that we're looking at that's becoming a player for them. They got a safety too, and Harvey over there from Miami, another kid like that, where it's like they picked them late or they picked them earlier than I would have picked them, but picked them in a effective form. So now they got two corners, in my opinion, that can help change what they doing on defense over there. So I like it. And then you got your Darian Ryan, Cowboys again. Think about it. So they hit at the linebacker level. They hit in the secondary again, and they're getting back to Cowboy football where they're gonna send that pressure to you. A lot of man-to-man defense, speed on the field, make you have to get rid of the ball fast, and they're gonna come back and they're not gonna turn the ball over as much as they have been. I do think the Cowboys do need to go in a different direction at the quarterback position, but other than that, they're getting the pieces to surround them right now, so we like that. That's the NFC Defensive Player of the Year of rookies. So now the AFC rookies. Cyrus Moss, Miami. You know the Bills are going to draft those Miami guys. They get Cyrus Moss. He's the fourth best DN in the draft. And you got him at number one right now. Shout out to him. Then you got Kirk Roten sitting here for the Patriots, and he's a rookie in his rookie season playing in the Super Bowl. So that tells you, a lot about him. And for him to be number two on this list, that means they're planning. You're looking at Kamari Ramsey, safety for the Bengals. I think the Bengals, this happens when you're picking in, the top five for the last 3 seasons. You start getting dogs. You start getting them dogs, and eventually those dogs grow the fuck up and start playing for you. So, man, another safety in Kamari Wilson for the Colts. They old at the safety level. They just get young there. I like that pick. And you got Demarion Tolan, another DB. Seem like the DBs in the AFC, the rookies are all making their names right now. This kid, you wouldn't think with the Bills, this kid would even be on the list because how does he get on the field? But the Bills do a great job of getting their players on the field. You would be like, how all these dogs over there? How? And David, look, you got the Edino son brothers, right? One is in the Cardinals, one is over here for the Raiders. Now the Raiders play corner, and he's doing a hell of a job because he's starting to step up to be their number one corner. And then the Cardinals, their guy redshirted last year, but they got the brothers in the league, and this kid is gonna be a monster. He's a tall, lanky, long arm corner, man. That can give you problems, especially in press man to man. So shout out to the Raiders. Now, Peter Woods. Peter Woods had a very interesting season. He started off very slow, the
Generational
speed of the
talent.
game, but exactly generational talent, and with a plus
Might be
two
the
plus
next
two
Aaron
grip.
Donald besides Elliot Donald.
He a dog, bro. He's a dog.
Oh shit.
Um, I thought, I had a couple of new pieces on defense that played, but he was the only rookie that played. We had a couple of guys that been in the system but didn't never play, but played now this year, and he felt it. I felt it defensively. We still had the number one defense in the league, but we felt it. And Peter Wood started off slow. You saw that he had the kick to get off, and once he got the understanding and caught up to the speed of the game, he will be a dog. This kid went in the double digit sacks in the last from like week 10 to week 18. So like the last 8 games, he started to turn it up right there. Abdul Carter, Penn State linebacker. Uh, is it me or is the Raiders just getting better with the players they getting?
I was just about to say the Raiders
Because this is a still
scouting
pick.
organization for the last couple of years has low key been on fire. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, they're not missing. They're getting superstars. Like nobody would have thought Abdul Carter would come out on Superstar or anything like that. He found it, saw it, got it, picked him, and he's number 8 on this list. Miles Glover is over there for the Texans. Another piece that they add with the Texans. All you want to do is continue to put your pieces on the field, and I think once they get comfortable with that, it changes the game. And then you got here you go. You remember this kid? Is this North Carolina? Silla, Malik Silla.
Nick Silla.
I don't know if he's
Nick
North
Silla.
Carolina. I think he's North Carolina. This is a big still too, another superstar. So a
I think
defensive
so.
lineman as well, man. So I like the AFC defensive rookies, the diaper dandies. I like the NFCs as well. The league's future is bright. Simple as that. All right, so let's slide past. All right, quarterback. Anthony Iverson wins the AFC quarterback. And NFC, we had that talk already. The NFC, Nico wins that. Best running back, Zamir White. Were you surprised that Zamir White won this?
No, remember, I was a full Zeus advocate from season one. I think they're still shortcutting Zeus in between games. Zeus has the effect of a Derrick Henry almost, or like a not OD like Derrick Henry, but like that's how the course of the game could be defined by if Zeus continues to get carries.
Yeah, he had
I've
100
seen it.
fucking 8 yards on me and 2, 3 carries.
I was about to
Uh,
say I've seen it, yeah. And if he starts off slow, you could just keep giving him the ball. He'll get along. If he starts off fast and you keep giving him the ball, you'll probably have a long fucking day playing this guy.
that dude
Um,
got some great running backs in y'all division. That shit crazy.
Yeah, Deuce is a not my Deuce. Zeus is a he's a problem. I ain't gonna lie, he's a problem.
Kenneth Walker
Man on a
III.
mission.
Is this a man that's a dog, or is this a man that's a product of the system?
A little bit of both. I
I
think he
was
got
going
to
to say
sit
the
behind
same
the
thing.
dog. And
Both.
Kenneth Walker's not underrated himself. He got to
Mm-mm.
sit behind the dog, learn from a dog, and then put into a system where it's like, shit, just put what you've been practicing for the last couple of seasons into the test, and then O-line does what they do. You do what you do. It's like bread and butter.
The Dolphins had three different quarterbacks this year, but the one common denominator is that they had the two best receivers in the AFC this year, Deion Smith and Danny Gray. Shout out to the Dolphins, Deion Smith.
Yeah, shout out to
NFC
the
best
Dolphins.
receiver is Wyman.
Oh, they got two receivers up there. Huh? Shout out to the fucking Dolphins. Shout
That's
out
what I
to the Dolphins.
said. He never had a season where we saw that.
Shout out to the
Like,
Dolphins. Yeah.
mhm. Malachi Wyman, underrated, or is he exactly who he is? Me, I think he underrated, but I'm gonna ask you first.
Underrated as in not known about league wide.
No, yeah, like league not really, like he's not big
Talking to
talk. Yeah,
town.
he's not the talker. Yeah, he's not the talk of the league when he should be.
Yeah, I would agree. Underrated.
Why
Every
isn't
route
he the
tree.
talk of the league? Is it been there, done that? Because we haven't really been there, done that with
Product of the
with
product of the offense and
yeah.
everybody expecting high power everywhere when the offense could be 75%. Well, the receiving offense could literally be 75 to 90% all Malachi Wyman
Yeah.
if he wanted it to be.
Well, that was the thing. During his runs, it was by committee. Everybody had 20 touchdowns at the receiver room.
Hmm.
He still got big time numbers like that, but Malachi is on a different. What we thought we was going to see out of Ward, Sheldon
Or
Ward, we're
yeah,
seeing out of Malachi Wyman.
I would say every big game he's had last two seasons. Go look at if you could go back and look at like the last two seasons. Malachi Wyman, every big game shows up.
Shows up. Yep. Shows up and show off. All right. So let's look at the offensive line award. It goes to Isaac Moore. Is this his first offensive lineman award?
Yes, sir.
Shout out to him. AFC. All right, so Cardell Thomas, man, Mr. Pancake himself, his first award as well. Defensive line award goes to Keyshawn Peppers in the AFC. You got Keyshawn James, another HBCU kid, number two. But Keyshawn Peppers showed off all year. So shout out to him. In the NFC, your D line go as well as to Tyreek Smith. Man, the Cardinals always have the 20 sack guy every year.
Yep.
Somebody's going to be a 20 sack guy. I'm starting to think it's the system.
The system, their dominant years, they had I call them the big three
Yeah.
on the D line. And I think that's kind of what they're waiting for. They're waiting for a guy to be able to help out this 20 sack guy because they found the
Mm-hmm.
20 sack guy. Now they need to relieve him, and then they need that Roy Fairley replacement
Me
from way back
personally,
when.
I think it's going to end up coming from a linebacker. They got a whole this linebacker room is deep over in
I
Arizona.
can see
They
that
have
time
deep
just changing,
linebacker room.
speed just changing. They need linebacker speed now.
Yep, and then Mac Kalmanuka. This used to be a player for
Fuck,
you, and he's been winning this award. Seems like in the NFC every year. He's up in the top three
two
at
different
least.
teams. He
Yes,
was on the
sir.
Falcons doing it, and now he's on the damn. What's he on the what team is he on
Nah,
now?
he never been on the Falcons. He went from U
Oh,
to the Falcons. I mean U
that's
to
right.
the
I
to the
traded. Yeah,
Vikings.
yeah,
U to
to
the
the
Vikings.
Vikings. Yeah, to the Vikings. Yeah, yeah, him.
And
Hmm.
Since Amar Barno has been a Bill, he's been, we starting to forget about Colt Young at this point. This kid's the new Colt Young of the league right now, where I'm not gonna call him the user, but he does a lot from that linebacker position. He's led the league in sacks 2 years in a row. So shout out to Barno. I mean, you get speed like that. I mean, that was the Adolphe Owe effect. That speed, that linebacker like that. You get that coming in, where you already somewhere between 95 speed, 95 excel. You run a 4.3, and then now you know what I mean. When you that fast coming off the
Hmm.
edge, linebacker or not, you
In
can do
that
some
corner
things.
and shit.
Yes,
Yep.
sir. Yes, sir. All right, so we get to the DBs. The DB award was won by Kyle Hamilton in the AFC. This super freak ass safety, man. This kid, I'm going on a limb and say I think he's better than Najee Israel was at the same stage where they at right now in their career. I think he's better. NFC, obviously Zach Holiday, the shutdown corner, man. We can argue right now he's the best corner in the league. We can argue that, we can argue that
Yep.
for sure right
Definitely
now.
can make the
Best
argument.
corner in the league. All right, so that's our DBs. That's all our award winners, right? Let's get out of that. I want to spend time doing that, and let's talk about our Pro Bowl team, who did what, when, where, and how, and get to that going, and then we'll start talking about some of these games that were played and the upcoming games. that we waiting on to get into the off season and crown our Super Bowl champion of the '67 Super Bowl. All right, so Pro Bowl rosters. Let's get to it right now. On the NFC side, you got young Nico as the number one quarterback for the NFC, and Anthony Iverson will be hosting the number one quarterback spot in the AFC. Two different quarterbacks. Nico throwing the ball all around the park, led the league in touchdowns. Uh, he had a nice QB completion ratio, and he took his team to the NFC Championship. And on the other side, Anthony Iverson. I mean, self-made name, man. One of the most scariest, dynamic quarterbacks when it comes down to dual threat in the league. He was second in the league in touchdown passes, I think. Um, Fell short though this season. D. Thomas, man, Weber, they're the number two quarterbacks. Now let's talk about this
Fucking
for a
golden
second.
child.
We looking at Golden Child. We looking at Mr. Accuracy, Clutch. We gonna call him Clutch, man. That's what he is. Weber
Talk about
Clutch.
Weber. Weber's
Yes.
fucking clutch.
And then
Yeah.
Iverson. They all come from the same draft class. That was the last Game of Thrones draft class. These guys are playing pretty good football right now, and we like what they're doing. When you go, I'm on the show. Give me a second. When you on a when you play the Pro Bowl game and you see these quarterbacks lined up, it's almost like pick your poison who you want to play with. At the end of the day, they all dogs. Jaden Daniels for the last 2 years has been, they got that high octane offense over there
Shout out to
where,
T.
yeah, they fling it all over the park over
3
there.
seasons in, he got back-to-back Pro Bowls, I think, with his quarterback. Or last year, I think it got snubbed because I got eliminated. So then Elijah took Jaden Daniels' spot, I think. But back-to-back years with a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Then you looking at the guy that came out of nowhere and Mr. Felix Harper, HBCU, Alcorn State, Trigger Man. I mean, I think this is tremendous. They played in the AFC Championship game this year, and Felix Harper was mainly the part of the reason why they played in that game.
3
Think where
plays
that.
away from a Super Bowl appearance.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Cardinals was about 2. The Dolphins was about 3, 4. Well, I'd say 4 because I say 4. I say 4. 4 plays away from being a Super Bowl at the Super Bowl.
All right. So the two starting running backs in the AFC and the NFC both led touchdowns as far as most touchdowns by the running backs. I think them, and then you had Mr. Touchdown himself. We call him Mr. Red Zone TD guy and Ruggs. But Zamir White and Walker both showed out and showed off all year long. I thought E.B. Savage had a great year as well for the Rams. I mean, they finally realized this is their
Long
number
time
one
coming.
weapon. Yes, and they did. B. John Robinson, I really love what he's doing for the Ravens. He's very
Hero.
special. He's special hero. Definitely a dog. Tim Hamlin popped back up out of nowhere. 49ers got active. Their running back started stepping there. Little
Got
remember.
active. I was just about to say, yeah.
Then you dealing with Zach Evans. I told y'all about this Chiefs running back. Nobody wants to hear me or believe what I'm saying, but I told y'all about this running back. He's everything as advertised over there. All right, so you got fullbacks, right? Knicks from the Steelers, Felice, whatever you want to say. Packers, right? Both of theirs. You got Bellinger for the Cardinals and Webster played for who again?
Who?
The fullback Webster. He played for the Jets.
Jets.
Yeah, he played for the Jets. So they're your fullbacks. Now, when you come down to receivers, the number one in the NFC and the AFC were the number one, won the awards, and Weidman and Deion Smith. Elijah Clark and Danny Gray, another Dolphin, and then the Saints. You got Roderick Smith, the veteran of this whole group, at 3, and then Jameson Williams. I mean, the number 3 receivers can be number ones anywhere. You know what I mean? Like deep. Then you go to young Evan Stewart and Chris Poole. We know Chris Poole and what he does. Josh Downs is starting to make a name for himself as a Cardinal, and Plex Burress, since he left New York, since his first season with New York, he's been the dog over there for the Jaguars right now. How you feel about that? That the Jaguars got him, and brought him back to life.
Um, you know, can't really be mad when we send players off. Chase Lucas, certain guys, him, and they make more of a statement. We feel like we groomed them well. We just wasn't able to meet all the expectations, and I feel like letting the player go out there and succeed their expectations doesn't, it's nothing bad against the organization. It shows that we were on the right track. We just got to be able to either, stick with certain guys. It's still a business. You make wrong business moves, quote unquote, but making the right ones is what matters. But we're good for it, and he's in the AFC, so we're not mad. Like I'm saying, he's not in the NFC whooping our ass. He's in the AFC whooping ass. So it's like okay, we're cool with that. Happy for him.
Now, JoJo Early as number wide receiver number 6, right? And Malik Willis is over there throwing dimes to him, right? I love that QB wide receiver connection right there. And Biggie Smalls on his way out as a receiver over there in Jets neighborhood, but you know how it go. They're gonna power you to death and they're gonna bombs away your ass. And if you give them one-on-one coverage on the outside, they got the 6'3" kid to go get it. This girl got all types of computer faces and shit going on. Tight end room. Eric Gilbert, your number 1 tight end. DW, both from the same draft class, both from our tight end ones in the AFC and NFC side for the Pro Bowl. Jaleel Skinner, Diaper Dandy's on here for number 2, and then the Browns, Wheatley is number 2 tight end. Then you got Jeremiah Shockey, an old giant, new Packer, and then Michael Myers. He's been a dog since he's been in the league. He's right there with Gilbert and DW when it comes down to tight ends from that draft class, balling the hell out. So I like the tight end room. Like all these tight ends are dogs. You got 6'6", 6'8", 6'6", 6'6", 6'7", 6'5". All of them dogs. All of them were uh, top tight end in his draft at the tight end number 1, AFC and NFC. Skinner was the number 1 tight end in his draft. Wheatley got picked number 1. DW got picked number 1 overall. Skinner got picked in the 2nd round before Jeremy Shockey was a self-made player by you. Michael Myers got picked in the top 10 in that same class as Washington and Gilbert, and they making plays in the playoffs, right? I mean, they playoff players, or they're making plays for their team. And then you're looking at the left tackles, Cross for you. Is he your best lineman?
Cross. Shit. Mm, yeah,
Dinosaur
low key.
face.
Yeah. At the left tackle position, ever since first year was his only double digit. I think every year after that, 4-3, 4-3-2. I think he's the core of it, where it used to
Right.
be the center, and I feel like my center O'Hara, and now I think he's the core of it. And for him to be a left tackle, it kind of has that old Stanley feeling where I don't worry about my left side a lot, at all, for real, almost. Like he's
When
solid.
when you start looking at your front 7, front 5 linemen and all that stuff, you start to think about this. The Bills and the Falcons are turning something. Remember when the Falcons said, "I'm drafting all linemen"?
Hmm.
Remember when the Bills they had the skill players all around them. They started to build that. They did it late though. They started to build their line second to building their skill players first. But now that they built them, these guys are Pro Bowl players every year now. It's like crazy. Mumford's left tackle starting. You got Jack Nelson for the Falcons, Santiago for the Ravens, Moore for the Giants, Grubbs for the Ravens. You got another Atlanta Falcon with Rodgers, and then you got Bird, who's a dog. He been there since Falk and them been there. But Bird's always been pushing at that guard spot for the Jaguars. You got Sears at center. You got Devine, another Bills player, right? Bayer for the Falcons, Yanda for the Ravens. And you start looking on the right side of the line. You got Strong sitting there, and who does Strong play for?
I want to say the Cardinals, NFC, right?
Yes, sir, Cardinals, right? And then Lloyd is a Bill. Then you look at the number 2, you got Putin, and then you got Patrick Falk, Ravens. Then you got we're missing a player. Hold on, Eagles got a right tackle. We didn't get to that yet. So Putin is your guy, right?
Right guard.
Pat Falk is the veteran. He's been the best lineman in the league as a whole. Then you're looking at Walker. Rasheed Walker used to play for you. Is that the same? And he traded for the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Yep, Atlanta Falcons.
So we look, Falcons got a lot of guys up here on the offensive line after they said they needed linemen. You got Holt sitting there for the Bills. Then you get down to right tackle, Roosevelt, Eagles, Gooden. Who the hell Gooden play for? Right
Uh,
tackle, Jaguars.
Jaguars.
Then you got Pat Teller, Falcons, Calvert, Chiefs at defensive end. They're D1, defensive left ends, one in AFC and the NFC. Then you're looking at Tyreek Smith for the Cardinals, and you're looking like Keyshawn James, the HBCU guy for Texas. All right, then right ends, you're looking at Myers for the Falcons. So the Falcons got the starting defensive ends in this draft. I mean, in this game. Uh, right and left, Pat Teller and Myers. And you're looking at Keyshawn Peppers for the Ravens at right end number 1. Now you're looking at Claiborne. Another, who the hell is Claiborne play for? Falcons? Packers. And then Aiden Hutchinson, man, for the Colts. He's been a dog for the Colts since the Colts drafted him.
Since draft day.
Yes, sir. And you got Dwayne Johnson for the Vikings.
Defensive tackle.
And then you got the Bills, Kitchen from Miami from the last Game of Thrones draft as well. Laurie for the Bears, and then Brian Brise takes over for Syracuse. Rest in peace to Syracuse, Tony Syracuse. So Taz Syracuse still plays for us. I'm gonna keep him around. But Brian Brise, number 2 D tackle, and then you're looking at the diaper dandy Shamar Stewart and Elliot Donald. Talk about that. At D tackle 3, these guys could be starters for damn near any team in the league as well. At the D tackle 3 position. Elliot Donald, Aaron Donald's nephew, and then Shamar Stewart, the super freak, um, at D tackle. I gave him a name. I can't remember the real name I gave him. I called him, what transformer name I gave this guy? Uh, it'll come to my head again, but we'll get it. All right, so linebackers. Left outside linebacker number 1, Kawuka Kawanuka. And then Dean for the Steelers. The Steelers got a mean defense over there. Their front seven fucking crazy. Thumper for the Rams and Papo for the Tennessee Titans. And I'm glad I'm seeing the Tennessee Titans now because they have one of the scariest defenses in the league at this point right now,
Oh my God.
especially that secondary. So now you see 2 linebackers, number 2 left outside linebacker and number 1 middle linebacker and Tillman. Right? Justin Flo finally stepped up. Falk been waiting for Flo. He had a slow start. It seemed like him and Stingley both had slow starts in their career. And I think it was just due to the fact that they came to teams that were already great at that position.
Mm-hmm.
Lloyd for the
Prime.
Saints, he was the number 1 defensive middle linebacker in that draft of 2022. Devin Lloyd, he was the guy over there. Then you got Dixon at middle linebacker, and he plays for the Chargers. Then you're looking at Tom Fox, ex-Raven, new Packer. Barno, the sack leader 2 years in a row. Looking at Jet Black for the Saints, Lions for the Raiders. These dog guys right now that you can play with. But then you get to the secondary. Alante Teller steps up for the Eagles as the cornerback number 1. Deuce Chestnut in his second season steps up as cornerback number 1 for the Dolphins. You got Primetime Sanders. You got Chase Lucas, another old Giant. He was a Cardinal, Giant, and then a Jaguar. But having a career year as a Jaguar.
This is what I meant episodes ago, fellas. Could be wrong team. Maybe not playing him. I played him. He barely played for Falk. I played him at the slot. I played him at outside. The Jaguars coach gets him. I see on film he's playing that slot cornerback. Tremendous year. Could have been the team. Could have been where I played him. It's just simply things you got to find out.
Now the Commanders got Sheridan Jones and Kool-Aid McKinstry at cornerbacks 3 and 4. And these 2 guys are really headliners when it comes down to the football team and how their success was all year is because they did have 2 shutdowns. Isaac Taylor Stewart comes from the first draft class of the real draft, and he came out a star. And I'm assuming he's up to a superstar at this point now. But he does it all for them. Slot corner, he guard tight ends, he sack quarterbacks. He do a lot, man. He really does a lot. They move him around and play him all over the field. Kool-Aid is a shutdown in my opinion.
Thank you, Max. I'm
But
weak as
Rudy Franklin though for the Texans at 6'4", man, monster at the cornerback position. 6'4", 215. He's been a standout, and they also got the kid. Who's the kid they got over there with him? Their cornerback 1 and 2 are off the hook. If you're still watching, I need to know. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. He was one of my favorite players though. He played for Modern Day. Then he went to LSU. He played with Stingley and then transferred to Alabama. What's his name?
Shit.
Looking for a +2 speed, +2 excel. If you could tell me what cornerback I'm talking about. Modern Day High School, LSU. Great freshman year. Got hurt sophomore year. Transferred to Alabama. We'll see him playing for Alabama for the first time this year. Dog. Mr. Pick Six himself, though. That's what they used to call him, Mr. Pick
Like
Six
I know
himself.
who he is.
Give me that
Oh, oh, oh,
name.
oh,
Give
oh,
me
oh,
that
oh.
name. Give me that name.
Ricks.
Eli
Eli
Ricks.
Ricks. Eli
Yes,
Ricks.
sir. All
Yeah.
right. So old ass Kai Fo goes from the Saints to the Falcons, and he becomes their user. And as you can see, Pro Bowl, free safety number 1. Kyle Hamilton, free safety number 1 for the AFC. Now you got Zion Branch, the young rook dog at 2, and then the Jamaican Lennox Castle for the Bills over there. Graham went from linebacker to safety, and Steiner, old ass captain, he's captain Baltimore, captain Duval. But he's still balling, and he's still strong safety number one. So I'm gonna make the Pro Bowl. That's amazing. Honey Mayo, Mr. Pick, he's quiet as kept. At 5'11", one of the scariest safeties in the league at strong safety. This guy picks the ball off. He might be their best ball hawk in their secondary. Then you got the Kansas State kid, Stubberfield, that plays for the Jaguars. Jaguars got a really good secondary. They had it
So
all this.
a corner and two safeties up here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right. So Woodson, the kick return number one, and Hudson, kick return number one in the AFC Eagles, and Hudson plays for the Steelers. And then you got Jermaine Martin, HBCU for the Lions, and then Davis for the Bills. There go your Pro Bowl guys, fellas. A lot of dog players. This will be an interesting Pro Bowl game. Now,
Any surprises in here for you?
no, I don't. Not really surprised. Maybe Stubberfield. I'm seeing him develop into what he is, but with Steiner and Stubberfield there, and Steiner on he's about to have to retire soon. He's about 50. Stubberfield is the next great thing over there, and they've always had a great safety to go along with a corner that just has an outrageous season, and I think they still have that same formula going on right now for them. So, shout out to the Jaguars for understanding how to get those DBs to play. All right, so we look at the playoffs and we look at what happened. 2 versus 7, Ravens beat the Raiders 43-22 in the wild card round. Forced win Dolphins 45-17, and then Kansas City loses to the Patriots 31-13. Then you look over on the other side, forced win for the Washington football team over the Giants, 28-21. And then you had the Cardinals play the Eagles 42-19 in the wild card round, 47-14 before the Green Bay coach quit. Actually got fired or retired. I don't know what he did, but they lost their coach that got them to the playoffs 2 years in a row, and they had this matchup 2 years in a row. Now this time it wasn't a shootout like it was the first game. It looked like the Falcons, jumped on top of these guys and never really let them breathe. So you saw that 47-14 ball game for the Falcons, and that was our first round, wild card round, first round. So we had, a couple good games. I really ain't pay attention to none of the games whatsoever. Even my game, I thought me and the Ravens 43-22. It was still a great game. This game wasn't, the score didn't really say what happened in this game. The Raiders played a hell of a fucking playoff game, and I think they could build off of that going into this up and coming season. I really think they
Yeah.
can build off of that.
Honestly, you put up 15 in the fourth, so take away. I mean, like that came late, or
hmm
to seal the game up until that point, it was shit. You were only up by
It was a
fucking.
dogfight, and
I said
announcers
it's a
kept telling
dogfight
me
game. Yeah.
they kept saying that the Raiders were heavily favored to win this game by multiple scores. So it was like I was fighting an uphill battle, but then the turnovers happened. And he DM'd me after the game and said the D line is special, and that turned the game around. Our defense we started sending heat to him, uh, stopped that quarterback from being mobile, and made him have to either get rid of the ball fast, and we threw him into errors. He threw a couple of picks late in the game due to the pressure, and that's what pretty much changed that game over there. Now we get to the divisional round, and the football team loses big to the Bucks. And the Bucks been doing this all year though. They've been putting up huge numbers on people, and it doesn't matter what talent comes in the building. Top player, bottom player, they've been putting up numbers on guys. They handled the football team 68-14, and then the game that I will probably call the game to watch will be this game right here, Falcons and the Cardinals. And remember, this matchup happened in the divisional round last year, and the Cardinals jumped on top and never gave up the lead, and they actually blew the Cardinals out. And in the revenge game, the Cardinals come back 34-21. I'm gonna look at a little bit of the storyline right now. Just look at the player stats to see what happened here. Nico had 106.2. They held Daniels to a 76.5. On 5 interceptions in the playoffs, not gonna get you a win. And they did exactly what they said they were gonna do. They were forcing him into turnovers. And, if you want to throw the ball the way you throw the ball, you gotta better make sure that shit works. Their
Now I
quarterback
watched
had
some of
97
this.
yards rushing. So what happened in this game? Because I didn't see
I
it.
watched some of this game. The Falcons actually go into the half with a 7-point lead. Not 7 point lead, a 4 point lead. Yeah, 4 point lead, 21-17. I think the Cardinals come out with the ball, put on a drive, score. So now they're up three. And then I think the Falcons initiated a turnover, and then from that point, they didn't put up any points in the third or the fourth, and that's really the telltale of the game. The turnovers, yes, the turnovers. Well, no points happened because of the turnovers, but still not having a way to get any points on the board during the whole second half of the season. I mean, second half of the playoff game is
And they
unacceptable.
both threw
So
the
those
ball.
two
I mean,
games.
Daniels out of the. I mean, I mean, this is you. We're gonna try to take away your passing game, and you're gonna beat us with Jaden Daniels running the ball, and so be it. 7 carries. He almost had 100 yards, but he wasn't effective on the scoreboard. He didn't score a point running, but he still had 97 rushing yards. Cameron Harris 67 yards on 4.8. Neither one of their running backs got it going. Only 14 carries and 11 carries here. So this was really throwing the ball situation, and even in that, it was a spread out. Like when you playing these two teams, playing each other, top teams, top coaches in the league, they can play. You're gonna get these type of games. Gilbert with 2 touchdowns on 2 catches, and you see spread around. Aaron Wesley, my old tight end, I don't know how he got there, but he had a touchdown on 4 catches. Weidman, where he had a big game every game all year, he only had 2 catches for 74 yards in this game. But they were big plays, as you can see, 37 yards a pop. Down scores on 2 catches for 69 yards. Roderick Smith does what he do, 2 catches, 49 yards, and a touchdown. And then you got Tion Pitts with 3 catches, 35 yards. And that's the hold up of the game. Anytime you hold the Falcon receivers under 100 yards, they're in for a long day. Simple as that. So you look at the turnovers. Let's just look at who had the picks real fast. And you're looking at two for Kamari Rogers. This is my guy. I didn't want to trade him. I traded him to him, and look what he does in the playoffs as a diaper dandy. 2 picks in that game. Brad Dawkins from the safety position. Croswell old ass had a pick. Kai Fo old ass had a pick, and then Isaiah Bolden had an INT as well from Jackson State. So they played there, they did what they had to do, and the Cardinals send their team to the championship game for the first time in about what 4 or 5 seasons.
Um, yeah, like at least three.
It's been a while, and they match up with the Bucks. On the other side of things, you look at 48-39. And what you got to say about this game is, you take in mind what Hoodie said. I had to go on vacation. And I'm not take listen to what I'm saying carefully. I am not taking this win away from the Dolphins. I don't. Please don't tell me to suck your dick. I'm not taking it away. But how big was it for the Dolphins to win this game after not beating them in like 4 seasons? To get the win when it matters the most, coming from the 6th seed and beating the number 1 seed in their first playoff game of the year, because they had to wait. And how much did waiting play a factor into this game?
Um, I feel like it did. I feel like the Bills don't throw 5 interceptions if it didn't. I feel like even if the Bills coach and that relationship with the Dolphins, they still would have liked to win that game, and maybe they would have held the league or had the league being held off the simple fact they were on vacation, et cetera, et cetera. But to lose, you just certain opponents you don't want to lose to just because of the you know what y'all's rivalry per se, or
So to me, it comes down to one thing in this game, period. And that's the Dolphins rush for 206 yards. Simple as that. And they held a really good running game for the Bills to 33 yards. Um, Most of the Bills' big wins over teams, that had big games. Most of their wins was because they ran the ball really well in that game as well. 308 yards passing for the Dolphins, 369 for the Bills, and as you can see, the turnovers. You turn the ball over 5 times, and the Dolphins only turn it over 3 times, and they win the game 48-39. This is a big win for the Dolphins. I think this is the game when you look at the run game and you look at what they did in the run game against the Bills. This is maybe something that you jot down as formula to go into your next matchups in the division where you can try to change your fate with this Bills team. And this is the start. This tank, not only did they win this game, it sends them to the AFC Championship for the first time since the first season. So to me, the Dolphins should feel a little comfortable that they're back. Do you think they're back?
I think, like you said, they have the remedies within some of these games. I didn't catch the Bills game, and caught the second half of the game against the Patriots. But I saw a lot in that second half. But I definitely think they're back on the standpoint of they gotta well all they gotta do is to get over that hump with the Bills and they could go back to winning the division.
And my thing is they got the pieces now. Like I thought, remember we talked about them having two good corners when they were at their best. They had two good corners. They do a good job with their safety play user. But I think they got better at their linebacker level. I think they got linebackers that can make plays, AI players that can make plays without them having to control them. And then they incorporated a run game. No matter how it happened, who was the guy that contributed for that 206 yards, we're going to find out. As you look at 105.9, 308 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. The Bills threw 5 touchdowns and 5 picks in this game. That's the killer. But in the run game, Felix Harper contribute six. Look, both their quarterback and their running back had 100 yards for the most part. Six was 98, and 18 for 97. And what's funny is they did a good job on the ground. Neither one of them scored touchdowns, so they never had a rushing touchdown in this game. But the rushing yards and the attempts pulled them in front of the Bills in this game. And I think the new spice to that is, come on, I mean, this is new. Felix Harper and that system, the way they throw the ball, if they can get this out of their quarterback, they're going to be hard to beat.
Definitely.
I think this is what they was looking for when they went after De'Aaron King at first, right? The way our passing game is, what we do in a passing game, if we can extend drives by running our quarterback, we can really be hard to stop. And it looked like that's what happened in this game with Phillips Harper almost having 100 yards. I mean, you might as well give it to him. He had 98 yards. Give it to him. No fumbles, right? That's huge from a
That's
quarterback.
big.
6 carries, no fumbles, right? And then your actual running back who played well for you all year averaged 5.4 yards in this game. So, and they even, if you go down there, the touchdown comes from Pacheco. Remember when I talked about Pacheco having to be involved? Only
Hmm.
2.4 yards, but he scored on the ground as well. So shout out to the Dolphins. I know you come out, you gotta feel good coming out of this game. Um, you gotta really feel good. You got your team in the AFC Championship and you beat your nemesis. Um, so shout out to young Cameron, man. Good shit there. When you look at any other games, you look at in the AFC. All right, so we get to the Bills. I mean, the Ravens and the Patriots, man. And this was a hard game for me. Um, Very hard game. 20-14. I don't think we scored a point until the fourth quarter in this game. We
Third.
scored, yeah, we scored our first points in the third quarter. Um, and a couple of errors down the stretch. Really couldn't get I really couldn't complete a pass, man. My quarterback just couldn't he couldn't throw the ball in the late. If the lake was standing 10 feet in front of him, he just couldn't throw the ball right. Just no, just every pass, like wide open passes over their heads, passes that should be a completion, going out of bounds. It was just bad throws, interceptions that look like they touchdown interceptions. A lot of things happen in that aspect. To the point where in the first half we literally had to just run our quarterback. Like we could not throw the ball, so we had to run our quarterback. Really had no control over our running back. So what we did was drop back in shotgun and then ran until he spied us, and then we was able to get some things going. In the second half, we had two opportunities, uh, down 20-14. We had two opportunities. Got the fourth and 20. Got a heat. The Patriots got a big sack in that fourth quarter late with under 2 minutes to go. And instead of us kicking a field goal, with all three timeouts, we went for it, and we thought we had the right call. Crossing route was butt naked, but by the time the ball got out of my quarterback's hand into the receiver, it was on the sideline and contested. So it was, a bad decision by us at that point. I think the frustration of us not feeling like we can't control our players and shit. I think it took my mind away from we're in field goal range and we kick a field goal and we're only down three here and we get a stop. And what happened was we get stopped on fourth and 20 and then make them go three and out. And we still, now you come back and think, damn, why didn't I just kick the field goal there? Because, I get the three and out and I'm right back in field goal range, but I need a touchdown and not a field goal. So big time win for the Patriots in this situation, and it sends them to the AFC Championship game. They did a great job in the fourth quarter. taking the clock down from 6 minutes to 3 minutes, somewhere around that. Let's look at time of possession in this game. Look at this, 16:52 to 15, even time, right? But most of that 16:52 comes in the fourth quarter of the Patriots. They did a great job controlling the ball when they had to down the stretch for them to get a big win over the Ravens, 20-14 in that ball game. And then you said you seen both these games, AFC Championship games. I didn't get to see either one of them. So let's talk about that. What happened in the NFC Championship game? 19-16. What type of? Oh my God, it was a really good game.
Yeah, I caught this game. I caught this game late as well. I caught both of these games right around uh halftime. When I caught the game with the Falcons and the Bucks, the score was the score was 16-13.
Falcons and the Bucks or Cardinals and the Bucks?
I mean, Cardinals and the Bucks. The score was 16-13. I want to say. Um, yeah, 16-13. Um, it was a defensive game for sure. Uh, the offense it was like not a lot of mistakes were made up until certain points, like up until the
Well, you got
first
two
half.
high power offenses held to
Yeah,
19, held to under 20, so they both
but the
played
yardage
great.
is there, and like you can see production. It's just red zone defense was stout. Certain situations, people were able to get off the field.
They went to
Shit.
OT. Oh my God.
Yeah, and they went to like I said, they went to overtime. Like it overtime drive. The Cardinals get the ball first. Perfect drive all the way down the field. Uh, third down, roll out to the right. The those are tight end. I want to say out route maybe. It might have been out route, corner route. I don't remember exactly, but towards the sideline late in his throws because Craig has his user in between. So it's a big play. It's like on second down actually. It's not. It's second down. Second down. Big play at the like 10, some shit like that. 10 or 8. So, and he throws it kind of late, having Craig choose between, I'm gonna believe his feet. He's got a running back and then a tight end.
Hmm.
So he's got him choosing, and he throws the tight end late, away from the lurker, away from the user, made him decide. Perfect throw. Um, Tight end doesn't get 2 feet in though,
Mm.
and he goes to challenge it. Well, it looks like it when I didn't. You couldn't watch the play because once it's an incomplete pass, it's not a highlight for you to look at later in the game. So I had to
Right,
go back and just watch it during the stream. Um, it looked as if he didn't drag. It wasn't a toe tap moment, but it looked like he was able to plant his feet somewhat inbound. It's a video game, so like that should be sliding sometimes, like half the feet beyond, half the feet. But it looked like it was a worthy of a challenge. Like I wish they would have let him challenge it. And considering it was considered a not touchdown, it was just an incomplete pass. I don't think they let him challenge it for that reason, because all touchdown plays get challenged regardless. So it's like
right,
they didn't let him challenge it. It wasn't under any time. They were in overtime, so that part didn't matter. It was fresh clock. It was like three
right.
3 or 4 minutes on the clock or some shit like that. So that was big because in the next play, um, as a coach being distraught, play calling, dials up a good play, um, but just throws it kind of prematurely, and it turns into a red zone pick. The Bucks get the ball at like the 10-yard line, the 12, some shit like that, the 10 and the 12, and then the Bucks at this point still have to go put a whole drive down the field, and they're putting it down the field. A big third down play to 99 Reasons. Um, that was almost intercepted. Some other plays. They actually threw the ball majority of the drive getting down. The run was kind of stuffed, and they were trying to productively move the ball, get down the field. You got to worry about get down the field before worrying about
And you
killing
only
the
need
clock,
three
so
at
to
this
speak.
point now, so
You only need 3, yeah, but
yeah.
he's making sure, yeah, and he's making sure to kill clock, for any ordinance, just to make sure it just runs. Um, there was another big play down the stretch. He's over. He's cross-side. He burned his last timeout actually because he gets tackled in bounds. He burns the time. We only get two, so he burned one, burned another timeout because he got tackled in bounds by a route by a receiver. I don't remember which one. I think it's like a drag to somebody. Gets tackled before he can make it out of bounds. When he calls the timeout, I want to say it was about 21 seconds on the clock. He's at the 30-something, 40-something. So he's decent. 40-something, some shit like that. He literally calls a flood concept right. Wrong. First he runs his quarterback. But he doesn't run his quarterback. Calls a pass play. Trying to move the ball, get closer for a field goal. Realizes he has no timeout. He ends up running his quarterback. Gets out of bounds, probably by the hair of a helmet, honestly. Like, had he got tackled in bounds, that was in the fourth. My fault. That was in the
Overtime.
fourth.
Oh.
That was in the fourth. That was how the fourth ended. He got to the field goal. I've skipped completely that shit. But so just hold thought for a second. That was at the end of the fourth. That's how he got the field goal. He calls the timeout, like 21 seconds left. He's
To tie it up.
to tie it up, and he's decently away. So he calls two more plays. Goes three plays. First play, quarterback run. His hair of his helmet, he gets tackled out of bounds. So that would have ended the game there. Another time, calls a play, gets to throw it away, probably by the hair of a foot or half, gets to throw it away. That's another game ender. Then he calls a flood concept. I think John Jenkins, or it was the O State tight end, toe tap swag, chip shot field goal, overtime. Then the overtime shit is exactly how I explained it. Cardinals get the ball, they drive down, bang, throw a pick after a missed touchdown. Or they could have possibly, I think they could have ran it in with their quarterback, but they sacrificed maybe getting hit by the user, maybe. Something I looked at later. But throws the ball out of bounds, throws a pick the very next play. Bucks go down and drive. They're driving. And they drive, and then they get to about like the 30, I would say. A couple run plays, chip shot field goal. Game. There was about two plays. There was one play on offense on third down they could have got off the field.
Two Titans playing each other in situations where plays matter, right? And that's
Plays
what
matter.
happens in the game.
One
Plays
on
matter.
offense with the pick. Well, two on offense for the Cardinals. Just that before overtime, they missed the touchdown, and then them not getting the quarterback inbounds.
Right. And clutch for the
And that's
Bucks to
clutch for the
better go down.
Bucks
Yeah.
because you got to he like it's a risky game. He doesn't have timeouts, so but he wants to get closer, which every close will want to. Anything can happen. I don't think there was any wins, but anything can happen. You want to get close as you can, and just to have the awareness to get out of bounds and know his player to be able to get out of bounds at that point, and then dial up another one for a chip shot to just send it into overtime. He did take a shot or two at the end zone, but it just wasn't there. He ended up throwing one away, and then another one he took a shot. But to have the awareness to just be able to do that, definitely clean up effort. And then Cardinals coming out, their one play was there was two plays there in the sense of they missed that touchdown, or the refs missed a touchdown, or New York missed a touchdown. No challenge flag was able to be thrown, and then very next play throwing a pick, because even if you take three on third, that was third down. So if he doesn't throw a pick and you take three, it's still overtime. He has to go down there and match the three or put a touchdown on the board. And I
Right.
think that being that's probably the biggest play of the game, because it's a flat out turnover where he can just go down, get his field goal, and then game is over.
Yeah,
And that's
because
just I
all the
say that to
pressure
go
is
to the
off the
whole
Bucks at that moment. Once that
all of
touchdown
it's
don't
off
get
the
called, it's the pressure's off of him coming into the next play, because now it's field goal or
and I
touchdown
get
gonna
a
happen.
chance or
Let's hold them to a field goal. They get the interception, and now all they got to do is get down and go get a field
get a
goal.
field
So
goal. Yeah, so
clutch.
those were the four plays. I said three because there was one that's like okay, like he just made a play. His quarterback getting out of bounds. That's just the way it is. But it's about three or four plays in that game where the Cardinals have majority of the ruling on how they dictate what happens, and they just a different situation to see.
I
I
want
guess
to.
that
I want to
ice.
see this game, man. I got to see this game. This was 19. And both. I mean, both of these
That's what I'm
games.
saying. I jumped in the defense. It looked like a full on defensive game, but then I was looking at the yards as they was popping up on the screen. I was like, nah, the offense is flowing. They're just making stops, I guess, when it matters. Like they're getting turnovers, making stops when it matters. The shit was a game. I ain't gonna lie, the shit was a game. Even just by the second half, watching the second half, I could tell that the first half was a fucking game. Like
The Patriots threw the ball really well in their championship game. 359 passing yards, 335, 142 on the ground, 173. So the Dolphins came back with the same formula, running and throwing the ball, and the Patriots was able to match that. And I think matching that, look, turnovers, both of them had two. This is huge. This is a huge game
snow
too.
game down the stretch, I feel like the Dolphins kind of when I clicked on, the Dolphins had a 9 point, two possessions. It's two possessions, 9 point game going into the fourth quarter.
Mm.
And when the game ended, you see Miami. You go to the fourth quarter. Miami puts up no points, and the Patriots put up 10 points and win by one.
Yep.
And the Dolphins throw a red zone pick about 3 minutes left, and you have to know who you're facing in the opponent. You throw a pick on the Buccaneers, the Ravens, the Patriots. Shit, I'll kill 3 minutes out of you. Falk could kill 3 minutes out of you. Shit, guns, Jim. There's certain players that will kill 4 minutes out of you and go kick a field goal to win that
And
game.
and it seemed like that because in both his big wins, he had the ball in the fourth quarter. We came back. We came back in that fourth quarter, made it. All right, so look, and I'll just lead to the same thing you're talking about as far as possession. Once you get a turnover and eating the clock,
To
right?
certain players, you got
Yeah.
to know for real
Yes.
football. You got to know
Yeah.
what's gonna happen, and that's you go look in the chat. My one thing to the Dolphins was, you up by 9 in the fourth quarter. You had two possessions. You have 0 points, and you let
It,
men up
it's
and
it,
score.
it- it's
You
it's
got to
being a
be able to
clutch.
tap in.
It's having a clutch gene. Bottom line.
You
So
got to
this
be
what
able
it
to
comes.
see it.
This what
Yeah.
it comes down to. And like I used to be, like I'm really good at this. I'm really good at it. This is what made me, really good at the game as well. Like any disc, right? Just being able to have that patience. I learned that from Falk to just be able to keep yourself in a rhythm no matter what's happening in the game. Um, against the Patriots, my frustration was we had a lag bowl. He said it on his end was cool. I couldn't control nobody. But in that, I'm frustrated. I'm mad because I'm telling you, yo, bro, what the fuck going on? But I'm down, so I can't, I ain't gonna stop the game or try to quit the game and nothing like that. I gotta fight through it. So clutch gene is understanding, okay, every throw is overthrown. My receivers is just running out of bounds and the ball just falling over their head. They're not reacting. So it's like, all right, how do I get myself in a situation? So I know as even though he's winning, I'm still in my mind. I still know he's worried about me more than he's worried about being comfortable in this game. He's not comfortable. Up 17-0 and going into the third quarter, and my score came late in the third quarter because I got ball at halftime, and I think I threw a pick which let him get a field goal, made it 17-9. But I go down, I score, and then I stop him and score again. And in that moment, what he did was he came out and he did not hike the ball until he had to hike the ball. And he got three big first downs on that drive, which let him eat the clock from 6 to somewhere between 3 to 2 minutes. It's a lot of time ate off the clock for me having to still come back from a 14-17 ball game. And in that last drive he had, he was able to get 3 points out of it, which put him up 14, and understanding, I'm not running the fucking ball. I mean, I'm not wasting. I'm not going to waste much time as I can. I don't give a fuck. 6 minutes, something changed on the clock in the fourth quarter, and you go in shutdown mode. I am not hiking this ball to say 1 second on the play clock, and he did a great job of that. So if you turn the ball over to him, and which I did, I turned the ball over like 8, 9 times in this game. It was turnover fest. So if you get somebody in that situation, the Bucks, Cardinals get the turnover. They're in overtime now, so really, time and possession is what it is. It's just now you got that turnover. He's in control of that ball game. It seems like the Dolphins somehow, some way blew. I mean, 9 points in the third quarter,
Nine
going
points
into the
is
fourth, doesn't really
It's
is
not
not.
big.
Yeah.
It's just that's why I say it's just the principle. You gotta just learn you gotta be able to carry that
But
real football.
you
Because
got
nine
to chew
points,
that clock. You got to chew
you
that
gotta
clock.
chew that clock, and you get a field goal because you extend it, because that's six. That's 12 points to that's two touchdowns, or I mean that's a touchdown and 5 points after that.
Yeah,
So you
yeah,
can
and I'm
still
not, and
kick
I
it.
don't have a problem punting the ball either, as long as I'm not changing the momentum with turnovers.
And
I'm
he was in a
cool.
situation he didn't even have to punt. He just threw a early second down pick in the 26-yard line, and that ended up being no points where he was up. Nano goes, called a couple
He said
plays.
wrong button interception. Nano on his drive
That
to
was the
kick the
that
field
might have
goal.
been
It
that
was
might
a
have been the
pass
yeah.
interference call on third down that saved his drive. Yep,
That
yep. I can see
he
that.
threw the pick. He threw the
And,
pick, and
and
he
that's
got
out of your
bombed.
control. That's out of your
And that's what I
control.
said.
You can't control the pass interference. That's out of your control, right? Completely. Now I can understand throwing wrong button picks. I understand them shit seriously, right? I completely understand them. And Nano did what he had to do to win this ball game. So you got to give him credit and how he came
Now
back and won this game by one.
on that pass interference, I saw that corner was beat to rights. That ball is about to be a bomb. I watched the release and everything. The quarter was beat to rights. So although you can't control it, that type of shit happens because you just gave up. You literally just put on no points in the fourth, a turnover and a punt. He scores off the punt, not off the punt, but he scores that drive with a bomb. And he puts the ball right back in your hands. You go down, put down a drive, and then end the drive with a pick. The momentum is completely swayed. All
Yep.
he got to do, he's gonna do anything. It could be anything. You could have got a power route. I mean, a power, and it could have took it to the crib. And that's the point that I'm like, if he buckles down and kicks a three, it makes Nano put on a whole drive, not a pick,
But he
and
could
then some.
also it's also recovering off of making a mistake that you hit the wrong button. So now you make the mistake that lingers in your head. You mad about that. Like I could tell you again, I had two opportunities with under 2 minutes left in my game to go down. I was in field goal range both times. I got my stop. I go down, I get sacked, but I'm still in field goal range. And I go for it on 4th and 20 instead of kicking the field goal, realizing I got 3 timeouts with a minute and 13 seconds on the clock. And I got him to go 3-and-out, but now I got to score a touchdown versus kick a field goal. And I got in the red zone again. You got to kick a field goal. That's just frustration. Now, my frustration came from the entire game. It was, to me, I just couldn't control my players. It was a bad connection game, in my opinion. And I could control my players, but I didn't fight myself. Like, I fought back from it, but mentally, I still wasn't there. Because if I was, then I would make the coaching decision not to go for it on 4th and 20. Kick the field goal and try to get your 3 stops. You know what I mean? Try to get him to go 3-and-out with your 3 timeouts. And I didn't do that.
I definitely
And
just
my,
think
you know what I
it
mean.
altered him
So
a
so
little,
the focus got to be there, and I think that's why
and
the
that's
Bucks
why, yeah,
are winning these games. He's focused throughout the entire game, and you know how you stay focused like that is because he played every game like it's a playoff game and to win the ball game. So when he gets to these scenarios, it's not foreign. It's not foreign to him. He's been there, done that all this because he's been playing like that all this. So the clutch gene is there because he's been being clutch. Nothing can take him out of that. Not attitude. Nobody can't frustrate. Like you can, I'm saying, like you can get frustrated and gather yourself, or frustrated and lose a ball game. And I think he's been clutch all year because he doesn't get too frustrated in the game. He
I
stays on
think it
course, bro.
definitely bothered the Dolphins because um, it just down the stretch, you could just tell kind of as the user on
Listen,
defense, I could just tell that it
I
was
know you
altered
gotta,
after that pick. Yeah,
young Cam's attitude. You know he was bothered. I know because I'm telling you, I was in the same game a week, the advance before that. I was bothered. Now my bother was different than his probably, but my bother still allowed me to make wrong decisions down the stretch. That's all
yeah,
I'm saying.
yeah.
Wrong
Nah,
decisions down the
definitely,
stretch.
and that's why I say you just got to be able to element of this game in a sense. He wasn't outplayed on that last drive because I'm willing to
Let me
bet.
ask you this: on that last interception where he said he hit the wrong button, was he in field goal range?
Absolutely, he was at like the fucking
Yeah.
28
So
yard
on
line.
second down, you running the ball there. Like if you're not frustrated over the punt touchdown, he scored. Oh my God, I'm running the ball there on second down, just kicking a field goal
Or
because he
throw
still
the
took a
check down.
minute to
Like he had
go.
literally thrown the same check down a couple plays earlier. And that's why I said like wrong button. You just got to be like calm, focused. Throw the check down or kill him with your quarterback. Like that's what I said. It's almost like yeah, I can definitely see the frustration now. It's almost like the game had changed for him, or he wasn't
Hmm.
playing the same game for a second. And I'm like, from what I've seen and from how much y'all play each other, y'all literally matched up neck and neck. Look, 7-7, 19-20. You go in the third, 10-0, and then you flip it and go 0-10. It's just like the focus in the fourth
Yeah.
and no production. That's gonna
Yeah.
cost you a game.
Yes,
Again,
sir.
and no time. That's gonna cost you a game. You
Yes,
completed
sir.
everything to almost lose the game in a sense, like no real football down the stretch. In a sense, killing time, running the ball, not your play call. Well, that's play calling, but killing time, running the football. Not throwing anything risky for a field goal. Then on a video game aspect, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to be able to know your opponent, know momentum, and know that it's a video game. You
I'll say
shit like a
this.
play action, the snow, like that shit is real. Like that's in there for a reason. Like we know it's a video game, but you got to be able to pull that real football in a moment like that. To
And
go to the
and
bowl,
and to his credit, it's hard to stay. It's hard to be on some like you know what I mean, like it's hard. But I
it
would
is
say
not,
this.
and
I
that's
would say this.
yeah,
I would say this. When you do stay on that path, your success rate is higher. I think because the playoffs took so long, a lot of focus was gone. We had going into the playoffs was fucked up. Like we went into it way too fast. I wasn't, my mind was I was already angry at everything because I didn't finish the draft class or saved it, and they hit the league on me. So it was just a weird playoff. Then you on vacation, hit on vacation, hoodie gray go on vacation, and it's taking so it's just the timing it wasn't good.
timing is definitely yeah.
But think about
Big.
it. You get around the wild card, two force wins in the wild card. You get around that, but you look at these games. There were great games played. There
Yeah,
were great
fucking
games
great.
played in this playoffs all throughout, from wild card, the ones that did get played in the wild card, all the way to where we at right now. And Greg getting to the Super Bowl game and the Bucks and the Patriots playing each other. And I could say this. Uh, Another great sign of what type of league we have, man. Because I mean, come on, bro. You're looking at a 3-point game to go to a Super Bowl and a 1-point game to go to a Super Bowl. It's huge, very huge,
A
very huge in those
shootout by
moments.
a runner, and then a passer, and then two people with premier offenses having a defensive game. Like that's what I'm saying. Like you getting the full blend. It's like those two games. I was glad I was able to watch both of them because it really was a tribute to the league, a tribute to you know. To all the thank you Maxes out there, all y'all some film watching ass niggas. I don't care what none of y'all say. I don't care what none of y'all say. All y'all could thank you Max in the chat. Thank you Ants. You want to give your crowd out, your shout outs and your creds. Whatever y'all want to do, just make sure
Fucking,
y'all
look,
hashtag us.
look. Thank my attitude. Thank connection. Fuck that. Oh my god! But look, we
Oh
gotta. All
shit!
right, so we gotta.
My boy Nano back in the bowl in this bitch.
Right,
Ah shit.
right. We got Nano playing in the second bowl. And we got motherfucking Craig looking to look, man. I'm gonna talk about this a little later, but we gotta talk about this. First undefeated season,
Yeah,
got a shot to
yeah.
close it out undefeated and to win the fifth Super Bowl. That's huge for
That's
Tampa Bay.
huge.
That's very huge. We will talk about this a little later. It's still early. I just wanted to get this all out today because we didn't do a show throughout the whole playoffs. I felt like. So now that we're back on track, let's get to it, man. And those that are like me, that's not in the big game right now, please take the time. I'm free now. So that means anything y'all need done, I can get done now and, get shit done. And I still got to, get some things done in the draft class. I'll get that done as soon as I advance after the show. And let's get to it. Again, if you're not playing, you got trades you can get done. Anything you need done, please get it done and DM me. Don't be scared to DM me or Max to get all the things y'all need to get done because I have the time now, which is great. I would rather be playing in this game, but I have the time now to better play Super Bowl around 8 p.m. Eastern. All right, so that's perfect. We got plenty of time, fellas. And then we'll go from there. I can get some things done today, so that's good. Other than that, man, thanks for joining. I appreciate y'all that woke up with us today and got on the show and participated and commenting and all that good shit. Other than that, fellas, and hits the franchise guru, right? And Motorcycle Max. We're out of here, you heard?